check this. This book is like the #1 book you're gonna need to understand how money works, how the Federal Reserve works. It's literally The Creature from Jekyll Island by G. Edward Griffin. I don't even gotta look at that. A second look at the Federal Reserve, 5th edition. And yes, I literally read from front to back. So what I did was I took some notes. So in this video, I'm gonna go over the top 15 key points that I felt, and I typed them out. This is what I felt I got most from this book. As a beginner to investing, when I first read this book, I was like, God damn, that explains a whole lot to what's going on. So I'm gonna share with y'all these 15 keynotes that I got for you. So check this. I'm gonna name them. 1, the origin of the Federal Reserve. 2, the Federal Reserve is not federal. We're gonna get to it. Fiat currency system. 3, inflation as a hidden tax. Ain't we going through that shit right now? Cool, okay. Fractional reserve banking. Boom and bust cycle, the bailout mechanism. Central banking as a tool for control. Monetary policy role in war. The role of the International Monetary Fund, IMF, and the World Bank. The concept of a new world order. Don't that feel like we currently going through that right now? Anyways, the gold standard and its abandonment. National debt as a tool of control. The role of secrecy and the power of awareness. Now, check this out. Not only did I write these 15 down, I even went into like a little bit of detail with you. Got something for you, so check me out. I'm gonna break them down to you. 1, the origin of the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve was conceived in 1910 during a secret meeting on the Jekyll Island, that's here in Georgia, by a group of bankers and politicians who aimed to create a central bank to stabilize the U.S. financial system. That's the origin of the Federal Reserve. Everything I'm about to repeat to you came directly from this book. 2, the Federal Reserve is not federal. The Federal Reserve is a private equity. Pause. The Federal Reserve is a private entity, not a government institution. Despite its name, it operates independently of the U.S. government and is owned by member banks. 3, fiat currency. The Federal Reserve prints money that is not backed by a physical commodity like gold and silver, which is why a lot of people are saying right now, money is worthless because it's really not backed by anything. Cool. This is known as fiat currency system, where money derives its value through government decree. 4, inflation as a hidden tax. Printing more money leads to inflation, decreasing the value of existing money. This erodes the purchasing power of citizens, functioning as a hidden tax. 5, fractional reserve banking. Banks can lend out more money than they actually hold in reserves through a system called fractional reserve banking, which can lead to financial instability. The last video I broke that down briefly. Call me a liar, and it's in this book. Say I'm lying. 6, boom and bust cycles. The Federal Reserve manipulates. Let me repeat this. And it came from this book. The creature from Jekyll Island. Okay, cool. The Federal Reserve I read it wrong anyway. The Federal Reserve's manipulation of interest rates and money supply can contribute to economic boom and bust cycle, which periods of growth are followed by severe economic downturn. Don't we feel like we're in the present times of something like that right goddamn now? Mind you, this is the 5th edition, and I think the goddamn original edition was... Let's look it up real quick. The original one is from 1998. Going back to my notes. Cool. Number 7, the bailout mechanism. The Federal Reserve often steps in to bail out large financial institutions during crisis, using taxpayers' money to save the banks that are too big to fail. All this taxes and tax, like, where the fuck does your money go? And you're getting that shit taken out of your check every 2 weeks. They're going to tax you on the money you make. They're going to tax you on the money you spend. Anyways, we're going to jump on to number 8. Central banking as a tool for control. Griffin argues that central... If you don't know who Griffin is, it's the author. Let me make sure. G. Edward Griffin at that. Let me get the man's name right. Central banking as a tool for control. Griffin argues that the central banking allows a small group of elites to control the global economic and consolidate wealth and power. Moving on to number 9. Monetary policies, roles in war. This blew my mind. When I found out, like, families make huge money off of wars. The Morgan family. JP Morgan now, if you don't know. Anyways, monetary policies, roles in war. The Federal Reserve has helped finance war by printing money, lending to the expansion of government power and national debt. These folks will goddamn print money to help both sides, which they've done in World War I and II. These families will help and come together with rich motherfucker bankers, put money on both ends and sit in the middle and collect. Well, you got the goddamn firepower and you ain't got no money. We're going to give you the money. You give it to a third party. They going to buy the firepowers from Russia, U.S., where the hell they can get them from. We're going to send them to y'all. Whoever the hell you fighting, you fight. We ain't got nothing to do with that. Number 10, the role of International Monetary Fund, IMF, and the World Bank. Griffin discusses how international financial institutions like the IMF and World Bank extend the influence of central banking and promote global debt dependence. Global debt dependence. A lot of motherfuckers in debt right now. Credit card debt is at an all-time high in 2024. The concept, number 11, the concept of a new world order. The book touches on the idea that the central bank and organization like the Federal Reserve, listen to that very carefully. And mind you, this came from this book. The central bank, where the hell was I? Oh, the book touches on the idea that the central bank and organizations like the Federal Reserve are part of a broader agenda to create one world government. They want to be United States of the goddamn world, not United States of America, United States of the world. They want one government, one. Keep in mind, the Federal Reserve is not the government. They're not even federal. I'm not here to argue with you. When you read this, we might can have a conversation, but I'm not up for debates. Not right now. Number 12, the gold standard and its abandonment. Griffin highlights the importance of the gold standard in maintaining stable currency value and the consequences of abandoning it in favor of a fiat system. Meaning, this is how the whole... I'm going to just go into it real quick. This is how your money is no longer backed. You remember at one point the US dollar used to be backed by gold? The gold standard and its abandonment is the prime reason that we have fiat money in today's time. And if I'm correct, I think somewhere around 60 to 70% of today's money that is in circulation for the entire world was just printed during COVID time. You can look that up. 13, national debt as a tool of control. Governments accrue massive debt by borrowing from the Federal Reserve, which in turn ties future generations to perpetual repayment, according to Griffin. And it makes sense when you sit back and look at everything that's done today. Like, your job's not going to pay you enough, so what you go get? A credit card, which does what? Put you in debt. You can't outright save up no more to go buy a house, so what you do? Go get a loan from the bank, which a lot of people get put in debt. And don't let the housing market crash, then you just lose your house to the bank. So they done got a double whammy on your ass. Okay, cool. And you still got to pay them. Okay, cool. Number 14, the role of secrecy. The creation and operation, listen to this one carefully. The creation and operation of the Federal Reserve were done in secrecy. And Griffin suggests that this lack of transparency continues to undermine democracy, which I agree, because to this day, BlackRock and Vanguard, who are also owned by those same companies that benefit from war, yeah, it makes sense. And last but not least, number 15, the power of awareness. Griffin encourages readers to educate themselves on the Federal Reserve's workings and its impact on you personally, their financial freedom, advocating for reform or abolishment of the Federal Reserve, which they probably ain't gonna get. These were just like 15 key like notes that I can remember like very well. And I do think like this book, for anyone that wants to understand where we are currently, how it's moving, how the Federal Reserve has something to do with it. Pause, because I am a person in the stock market, and this is what all this, this is where all this derived from me wanting to be in the stock market. The Federal Reserve control that shit too. Like, they're the number one reason of how it moves. Anytime Jerome Powell, which is the head of the Federal Reserve right now, or the spokesman, anytime he get on TV, what the stocks do? Because we're uncertain what the fuck they gonna do. And we just had a first interest rate cut in 4 years after running them up. What it do? Stocks jumped up. Interest rate cuts. The feds have their hand in everything, and they're not the government. Your government and the feds are two totally separate entities. So for a lot of people, they think that it's one and the same. No, they work together, but they ain't one and the same. Educate yourselves. Read. Prolific Learners Network. That's what we do. We read, we educate ourselves. We come here to see what you know, to see what I know. See if we can exchange information and become better. Just because you know something or more than me doesn't make me dumb or no less. Like, we need to start helping each other learn versus just talking shit about each other. Oh, you don't know this. Oh, okay, I know this, but you don't know this. Or you trying to feel like you're smarter than the other person, or you trying to feel like you have a higher hand up on another. Like, no, bro. Like, teach one another. Teach me what you know that I don't know. I might understand something different than you understand it. I might can get it a different perspective when it comes out of your mind. So that's all I'm saying. Comment, like, subscribe, get at us. Just in case you wanted one last look at what was going on, the creature from Jekyll Island. I'm about to become a creature.